So thank you very much for being here, and I'll pass it to our MCs.
Hello everyone, we are so excited you all made it out here today. My name is Mila.
And I'm Kara, and we're going to be your MCs for today. As seen in the video, from Rebecca, in the next couple of hours, the event will showcase an inspiring collection of youth climate activists from around the world and their perspectives on current climate issues, as well as the effects it has on their communities. Before we get started, we would like to take a moment to share a way.
In the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth, we acknowledge the traditional Treaty 7 territory, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy Nations of the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina First Nations, and our neighbors, the Iyethka Stoney Nakoda Nation, consisting of the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney bands. This territory is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland.
We are proud to hold space for Indigenous voices in these nations as we act in reconciliation that is meant to honor and raise awareness for our neighbors. We listen with gratitude to the ancestral stories of the land that they share. We recognize our shared responsibility going forward on this journey of truth and reconciliation.
And to start it off, we have Sean Bernard's video from the World Health Organization last year, which...
I can only speak on behalf of my Indigenous community with mental health. That's a big issue that's happening inside communities right now. And I understand that what the reasons now about is we're losing our connection with our culture, with the connection of the brings a spirit to us, and the brings something that we we're using that as community before it. We're using that mentality and tradition, that culture. And it all comes back to going back to the community, going back to your people, and engaging your community's conversation, engaging these people so they're actually being heard, being seen, and getting our voices in. I feel like that's really helps with our tradition and helps with saving our planet, saving our culture, and being who we actually are, and saving our nature capacity. So I just think we have to engage these communities in these conversations more to have that mental.
Now we'd like to welcome our honored guests, our mayor, Gretzky, Town Canmore, and Caitlin Van Supervisor, Environment and Sustainability in the Town of Canmore.
And joining us virtually, we have Sarah Elma-McGee, who is our MLA for the Banff-Kananaskis region.
So Mayor Gretzky, we would like to welcome you to the stage to share a few words with the
Great, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today and to bring greetings to you on behalf of the Town of Canmore and Town Council. It's truly an honor for you to gather here today and deal with this very important topic. Of course, the effects of climate change are already very much apparent in Canmore. In response to our shifting climate, we are doing our part to reduce our impact and prepare for the future. We have a climate action plan to define targets and identify a suite of actions to achieve these targets in alignment with the requirements of the Global Covenant of Mayors. Is that for me? Highlights of the current climate action plan are: by 2030, the community of Canmore will reduce its GHG emissions by 30% below 2015 levels. And the town itself, the corporation, will decrease its corporate emissions by 50% below 2015 levels. By 2050, the town will reduce community and corporate emissions by 80% below 2015 levels. I say our current plan, as right now we are in the process of updating it and making sure that we are hitting the goals that we need to meet. Beyond approving a plan, Our actions and initiatives include building LEED certified buildings, partnering with the Town of Banff and Improvement District Number 9 to operate local and regional roam transit and providing fare free local transit in Canmore. Putting in place sustainable building requirements, conducting energy efficiency audits of our facilities, implementing cycling and pedestrian improvements to shift transportation mode share, approving solar installations for town facilities, implementing a community-wide organics composting program, and increasing our in-house resources from one part-time sustainability coordinator to 2 full-time staff focused on sustainability and climate action. You know, in the face of climate change, there is a tendency by some to be pessimistic and gloomy, while fully recognizing the severity of the situation. I prefer to be optimistic and hopeful. We are seeing increased awareness, and innovation is coming on board very quickly. Of course, there's still an incredible amount of work to do, and we have a ways to go to meet our goals. However, seeing all of you here today bolsters my hope. Thank you for your efforts, for your innovation, and your leadership. Together, each of us doing our part, we can and will make a difference. Thank you.
And now a video greeting from NDP MLA Sarah Elmolaghi, who was unable to join us in person today.
Hi, I'm Sarah Elmolaghi, MLA for Banff Kananaskis. And while I normally live in Canmore, today I'm coming to you from Edmonton. And I just want to take a minute to acknowledge and recognize and appreciate the dozens of Indigenous groups that call Alberta home and have called Alberta home since time immemorial. I am eternally grateful for all of the stewards of the land that came before me. Welcome to Extreme Hangout Rocky Mountains, October 2023. Climate change is real. It's happening today, and it's been happening every day in very tangible ways for the past several years. We know that emissions of greenhouse gases is changing the Earth's long-term climate and its ability to survive as we know it over the long term. We also know that a large portion of those greenhouse gases are due to human activity. While we can sometimes be dismayed by these truths, I do find hope in them. Because if we know that human activities are the main contributing factors to climate change, then we have the power to change it. When I first started learning about climate change in the mid-1990s and its solutions, it was in my university undergrad. We sometimes get lost in thinking that nothing has changed since then, but many things have. Technology has improved dramatically, and we understand so much more now than we did before. But perhaps the biggest thing that has changed is you, the movement around the conversation. Young people gathering, talking, and pressuring their elected officials to act differently and to plan for a better future. I remember seeing a comic of a professor teaching a class and listing off all the impacts of climate change. Wildfires, floods, massively damaging weather events, social disparity as people become climate refugees. All of these things have come to pass. We are now living in that reality. And in the back of the lecture theater in this comic, one student said to another, "What if it's all a hoax and we create a better world for nothing?" I love that comment because it is so true. What if we just created a better world? You being here today is part of that better world. I hope you never stop working to create a better world. We need you. Your energy, interest, enthusiasm, and voice will be what holds governments accountable to creating a better world. Always remember that. We are fighting to create a better world. Never stop. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Extreme Hangout. We come together to celebrate the power of youth and the extraordinary impact that each one of you can and do make in our world today. The planet is our one and only home, and nature is our life support system. Human life, all life, is infinitely precious, and I stand before you now to express my heartfelt gratitude for your presence here. Extreme Hangout is not just an event. It is a community and movement that empowers young minds to unleash their full potential and become catalysts to drive positive change. It is a platform that encourages you to dream big and challenge the norms, think outside of the box, and to create a future that aligns with your aspirations. It's a space where innovation, collaboration, and resilience converge, fostering an environment where incredible ideas can take flight and become reality. To all the change makers who have chosen to be a part of Extreme Hangout, I want to express my deepest appreciation. Showing up today is a testament to your unwavering commitment to make a positive difference in our world. Each one of you embodies the spirit of hope, courage, and determination. And your passion for creating change is truly inspiring. Moreover, I want to extend a special thank you to those amongst you who have taken the initiative to host their own Extreme Hangout event. By doing so, you have not only demonstrated leadership, but have become agents of transformation within your communities. Your efforts to bring together like-minded individuals and provide them with a platform to collaborate and learn from one another are commendable. Extreme Hangout is an opportunity for us to come together, learn from one another, and inspire change. It's a reminder that our future is in our hands, and we have the power to shape it for the better. The connections you make, the ideas you share, and the experiences you gain during this event will undoubtedly fuel your journey as changemakers. As you immerse yourself in this remarkable gathering, I encourage you to embrace the power of collaboration and the potential that lies within each and every one of you. Listen deeply and let your voices be heard. Together, share your ideas, perspectives, and dreams for a better world. Remember that every small step you take has the potential to create a ripple effect, inspiring others to join your cause and drive transformative change. Your dedication to creating a better future is awe-inspiring, and we're immensely proud to have you as part of this movement. Together, we can create a world where compassion, equality, and sustainability don't simply exist, but thrive. Thank you.
Hi.
Decarbonize is justice. Decarbonize is hope.
Decarbonize is learning the causes and effects of climate change.
Decarbonize is understanding that protect the outcome.
Climate change is making a difference to healthier environment. Decarbonize is changing our better.
Decarbonize is protecting our future. Decarbonize is protecting our future. Decarbonize!
Our first speaker is Ko. He's originally from Osaka, Japan, but currently lives in Canmore, where he is a student at Canmore Collegiate High School. Although he's only 19 years old, he's already taken many actions for the climate, including organizing a waste facility tour. Ko chooses to be a presenter today to empower others and discuss the threats that littering poses to our environment and well-being. So welcome Ko to the stage.
Can you hear me okay? Today is a day I've been looking forward to for the past 2 years. When I first came to Canada, I was scared to talk to people because I wasn't fluent in English. I didn't like that I wasn't talking to people, even though I came here to be able to speak English. I pushed myself to learn how to speak with people and study English hard to become more confident. I noticed that I was actively participating in class. I was speaking up in class. I realized how far I'd come. I started small, like giving a talk in front of a few people, and kept practicing step by step. I kept saying to myself, I can do it, I can do it. I kept moving forward. Today is the day when my dream will come true. I'm going to talk about my project called Volunteering Purpose. My passion and my new dream. Volunteering Purpose gives the students a chance to earn volunteer hours and contribute to the community by cleaning up our town. Let's dive into three key factors that led me to this project, starting with my own story. When I first arrived in Canada, the breathtaking Canadian Rockies were a dream come true. I explored, hiked, biked, and joined the group. As I walked through Hangout, something caught my eye, and it dampened my spirits. Can you guess what it was? Garbage? Yeah. Litter scattered on the street. I was thinking, why is there so much litter in the stunning Alberta Rockies? I had to do something. From that day forward, I started cleaning up my community. I started thinking about then I wondered what other problems that litter cause. So I did some research. Turns out there are many. I'll touch on two negative effects. One is habituation of bears. Bears consider anything with a scent to be food. It includes food containers, used cans, drinks, and even cosmetics. If those things are littered, they can attract bears and other wildlife into a town. Next thing is the release of methane. I learned litter releases methane when decomposed. Methane is over 25 times more effective at trapping heat in atmosphere. Isn't it interesting how picking up litter can help us keep safe and slow down global warming? I think it's fascinating. So those facts make me believe that more people should be aware of the consequences of littering. And I started thinking about volunteer opportunities for students at school. When a friend came up to me and asked, Cole, do you know any volunteer roles? I still need 20 hours. I realized many people needed volunteer hours to graduate. There were options like working in a cafeteria and being a scorekeeper, but there should be more impactful opportunities available. Think about it. With around 600 students in our school, each needing 25 hours to graduate. That's a total of, oh, you got that? Wow, that's amazing. Yes, that's a total of 15,000 volunteer hours. Imagine if everyone had a chance to contribute those hours to wider impactful opportunities, programs in our town. How cool is that? I thought we've got to make the most of those volunteer hours. Up till now, I've touched on 3 things. My drive to clean up my community and the need to spread awareness about the consequences of littering and the need for more meaningful volunteer opportunities. Those 3 things motivated me to create my new project called Volunteer with Purpose. It's a cleanup activity for students needing volunteer hours. I emphasize learning why we shouldn't litter during our activities. Over the past month, I've organized 4 cleanup activities. And I'm thrilled to share that they've been a great success. And to make a bigger impact, I'm working on a manual about organizing cleanup events. I'm planning to send it to sustainability class all over Canada. I want to encourage them to do the same. It will include a digital sample announcement, an event-driven format, a liability waiver checked by a lawyer, access to my social media so students can share their activities, and more. This should make it much easier for them to get started. My dream was to share my passion for making a difference with a large audience. This dream felt huge, but I chose to take a step and keep working towards it. Here I am, standing in front of you. What I learned from achieving my dream was that resilience and persistence are a key to success. Whenever I face difficulties, I try to remember this encouraging quote. The people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. I couldn't have been able to give a presentation without the support of my parents, my family, my parents, my friends, and my teachers. Everyone needs support. There is no one in this world who became successful without the support of others. So let's encourage and support each other. Let's strive together to make a difference in the world. Will you join me and volunteer with purpose? I hope my presentation has sparked something special in you. My next dream is this project. Thank you. Does anybody have?
distress to our students about decarbonize. What's decarbonize for you?
Hello, that was wonderful video and wonderful video. Let's hear another round of applause. So next up, I'd love to invite to the stage Taylor, Ryan, and Ava, grade 12 students. They're from Austin O'Brien Catholic School that is in Edmonton, Alberta. And their interest range from sports to science to nature, but their shared passion in the outdoors was why they joined the Decarbonize team. Their presentation will take you through engaging issues facing Canada's climate and how these issues have specifically impacted their lives, and their main focus will be wildfires. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Taylor, my name is Rowan, and my name is Favor. Before we start our presentation, we would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territories in Alberta of the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. Our presentation covers today. We'll take you through the emerging issues that Canada's climate is facing, as well as specific impacts on our individual lives. Our main topic will be the wildfires, although we will touch on some other topics as well. We'll take you as well through some of the projects our schools have been focusing on and the organizations we've worked with. At AOB Environment Club, we've been involved with several communities as well, and we'll also take you through the further works and projects we plan on doing. I would like to start with the wildfires and how they have affected air pollution within Edmonton. Wildfires emit harmful pollutants such as nitrogen dioxide and carbon dioxide. These particles, when inhaled, can be very dangerous to us. They can cause asthma attacks as well as other long-term health consequences. And Vic and I personally know that because we run cross country with our school. And we've had instances where practices have almost been canceled because the air quality is too bad and too dangerous, so we wouldn't be able to turn. Another aspect of wildfires is that the pollutants can also get into the soil, which ends up eroding the soil, which will then make it difficult for the roots to stabilize. In turn, this affects how many crops are viable at the end of the season, which can make the prices of food go up, which no one wants. So. So behind me is the 2022 Alberta wildfire record. So the government of Alberta have been collecting these stats beginning of March 1st to October 31st of 2022. It was apparent that we had 1,246 fires last year. This really tells us that we are having fires more frequent than ever, and the numbers of fires will keep increasing. If we don't start taking a serious action to prevent these fires. We also see a spike in temperatures between the months of July to August compared to the past 5 years. So you may ask yourself, what factors are causing global warming? Well, according to the Alberta.ca, the majority of wildfires are started by humans. In fact, last year, over 60% of wildfires were human caused. Human activities such as farming, overt farming,
excessive irrigation, and deforestation are insanely impacting our land to capture and hold water. So as a result, our forests are drying out faster than usual, becoming more inflammable as the temperatures rises.
I will now take you through some of the socioeconomic. I will now take you through some of the socioeconomic impact climate change is having in Canada. Unsurprising to most adults and youths, we've been hearing of an incremental increase in grocery store prices and stores. Adults in Canada are having a difficult time feeding their families to the skyrocketing prices. But how can this be related to climate change? This has been a result of farm production and supply chain impacting the agricultural industry being impacted by climate issues such as air pollution, excessive rain, and excessive seasons of droughts, which all negatively impact the crop production and overall increases the cost of these grocery store prices and lowers the supply of the resources now. In Canada alone, we have seen a 10% increase in consuming prices of groceries, which will only continue to increase over the next years. In addition, I've also been personally impacted by the social impact of climate change in Canada due to a lack of funding for public transportation. All my life, I've been a student, so I've taken public transportation. But within the past 5 years, there's been a 20% increase in the cost for public transportation. Within my family and friends, we have to discuss how unaffordable our environmental ways of community and transport is becoming increasingly more unaffordable. Currently behind me is a stats showing of the growth in pricing of grocery goods in Canada. Currently, there has been an increase in price. However, at the same time, there's been an increase in the amount of food purchased at the same price. We all see the negative numbers. Yeah, that is struggle. Next slide. But on a more positive note, let's talk about the accomplishments that we have made at AOD, us the Ride Environment Club. First has been our compost piles. This was our first big project as a group. We created large composting piles with the city of Edmonton Master Composter regular recycling program. I was able to join the Caldwell community and had amazing individuals reach out to help educate us with the creation of these bins. Our second project were compost bins. With the help of individuals such as Naya, Tyree, and Claire, with outsourcing, peeling, washing, designing these tanks for their intended purposes. So how do they work? Each class receives a bin, and students of the AOB are encouraged to stand up and put compost into them. With the help of our WIN special education students, they're being thoroughly collected and gathered with all winter and spring long into the large compost. And finally, for our newest and most recent project has been the creation of a school garden. This first started with the planting of small shrubs and flowers. But however, through the years, we have moved up to vegetables and fruits, such as pumpkins, squashes, tomatoes, and berries. Unfortunately, this year was not a bountiful year. However, for future plans, we plan on tending to the garden closer so we can have a greater increase in numbers. What do more of our extended future works look like? Our future works include a switch to containers that are more sustainable because our metal cans have begun to rust over time. We also plan on being able to feed our own students with the garden. By doing so, we plan on making a more significant impact on the growing economic hardship for our students. Now, what can you guys do to help? We would like to start by talking about waste. You should be mindful of how much waste you are producing. An example of how you can do this is by composting, which is what Britta was talking about. Composting helps properly dispose of certain waste, which is helpful. Just helpful for the environment. Another idea is to just be mindful of how much power you're using. It can be simple examples like washing your clothes on a cold setting instead of a hot setting, just simple things like that, right? Everything you do really does make a difference, and even small things. Even though they feel small, they do. And if everyone does their part, it can really make a difference on the planet. We would also like to encourage you to join the We would also like to encourage you to join the Commit to Act website. It's very useful because you can log these actions that you're doing, like using a reusable water bottle or eating a meal without any meat. It's very cool to see because they give you facts on how what you're doing is useful and how you're taking away carbon dioxide. So it is very fun to see. Thank you.
So, and before we end, I would like to walk you through the stats of food waste in Canada. So there are many instances where we often waste just good food that, like we waste good food just because we bought too much or because it got rotten because we didn't properly store it. Well, although it may seem just one apple or one piece of bread that has been wasted, it won't make a big deal, right? But no, according to the National Zero Waste Council, almost 2.3 million tons of edible food is wasted each year. And mostly it's us, consumers. Consumers waste almost 47% of the food that is being produced. When we waste food, we also waste all the energy, resources, and associated emissions that went into producing, processing, and transporting these products. We also, not to mention that when these food waste ends up in the landfill, it generates even more emissions in the form of methane gas. Methane is many times more harmful to the environment than carbon dioxide. So therefore, just by looking for ways to save our food, experts believe that we can reduce 8 to 10% of our greenhouse emissions.
Lastly, we would like to take this time to acknowledge everyone who has contributed to us being here today. First of all, thank you to the support from the Decarbonized group who have allowed us to speak here today. Specifically, thank you to Rebecca and Sarah for helping us create this presentation to share with all of you. We would also like to thank the members of our Environment Club at Austin O'Brien, both present and past. It is with their ideas and support that we were able to share these contributions. A special thanks to Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Hernandez, and Mr. Troiano for leading us and environment. Lastly, we would like to thank everyone in the audience here today for taking the time to listen to our presentation. We hope that we've inspired our peers, as well as you grown-ups, to help take action against climate change.
And next up, we would like to welcome Stevie and Ayla to the stage. They are focused on the global issue of plastic pollution and the effects it has on humans, animals, and our ecosystem. They hope to raise awareness and encourage communities to take action, as well as strive to broaden others' horizons and educate the accurate perspective in terms of what is currently happening and how it is affecting us. They are excited to have the opportunity to share with you today and hope that you can take something out of it.
Stevie, and this is my friend Ayla, and we're both from OKM, which is located on the West Coast. Today we are here to talk about the human effects on our oceans. Our plastic pollution is a big problem we are all facing, where around 20 million tons of plastic are put into the ocean every year. The bodies of water around us are becoming more and more contaminated. Our water sources are becoming 70% contaminated. And every day, 2 million tons of sewage and other pollutants drain into our water systems. Some of this plastic ends up in our ocean and garbage patches, where it gets entangled in the current vortex with plastic from other sources like offshore fishing operations. Plastic pollution will have a worsening effect on our economics, health, and ecosystem if nothing is done. For a visual reference, this shows you where we are from on the map. And just so that everybody knows, Canada has one of the longest coastlines, going as long as 200,000 kilometers, which is why this cause is so important to us. So our story. When I was younger, I traveled to Africa with my family, and as you can imagine, I was so excited to begin this trip. So my family decided to do something really gross, and we actually went to a seal colony, which houses about 200,000 seals. And on one of the pictures behind me, you can see what we had expected to see there, which is just a beach filled with seals. As we got there, there was no beach to be seen. It was just a bed of garbage and seals entangled in garbage. And there was actually less seals than we had anticipated, as many of the seals had just been eating this garbage and dying. For me, as a child, I spent most of my time growing up down in Florida where my grandparents lived, and it was always a really happy place for me. I got to meet the animals, I got to meet the ocean. It was really my peace. And one day, all my perspectives changed, where I was just on the beach playing with sandcastles and kid wood. And I noticed there was a bird in the ocean that was kind of washed up on shore. And so, being me, I was curious and I wanted to save the bird. And so I found it's just kind of it was suffocated by a plastic ring, which was one of those. So a man-made piece of plastic, and it was really scarring for me because I'd always had such a happy perception that I wasn't really aware of all of these climate issues that were happening and how it was affecting our marine life. And so when it scarred me, it was kind of it kind of led in my head all curiosity, and I was just I always thought birds look better in the sky and our marine life looks better under the water.
One thing to take away from both of our experiences is that sometimes when the problem isn't there right in front of you, we just pretend that we don't even know it's there, or sometimes we don't actually know it's there.
And because of our stories, I want to create a positive impact on this issue. And I try to reverse the impact as well as prevent it from happening again. And I hope to share all the effects and highlight the fact that regardless of how this is affecting the oceans, that it's also affecting us too. So it's said by 2050 there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish, which is really hard to process because when you think about the ocean, and there's also the fact that we only export 5% of it, so the other 95% will almost be dominated by plastic and man-made microplastics, which takes a toll on our marine life and aquatic ecosystems, where the entanglement, suffocation, and swallowing of hundreds of marine animals are the most obvious effects of plastic waste. And when these marine animals, including fish, whales, seabirds, and turtles, are living and just trying to survive off each other, the plastic debris makes it into most of their systems.
And adding up, there's more plastic in the ocean than there are stars in our galaxy. So to put that in perspective, there's 100 billion stars in our galaxy compared to the 380 tons of plastic produced each year. When you think about how much plastic is being produced, it really changes your perspective on where does that all go. So this graph right here shows how much plastic enters our world. You can see how much plastic is produced in our world, mostly consisting of single-use plastics. Which, when you look next to the graph, it shows you'll see how much plastic waste turns out to be higher than our plastic production. After much of that is going straight into our oceans. And one thing is, because of Canada's poor recycling management, we sometimes will ship our recycling over to Asia, which in turn just ends up in the oceans anyways, which takes a massive toll on all of our oceans.
So just for another perspective, 593,043,485 pounds of plastic pollution is on the ocean surface. And it's just crazy to think because for like human connection, it would take us well over 100 years to count to that number. And the fact that it's only on the surface just means that there's so much more right below. So when I was in grade 8, I had to do another climate presentation. And while I was researching, I saw a climate activist that had a quote that said, "It's only one straw," said 8 billion people. And this really just opened my perspectives, and it also kind of made me connect to it because being guilty of it, I have said that, and I bet a lot of people here can also say that too. The Plastic Pollution Coalition states that over 500 million straws are used daily in the US, which is crazy to think about. And it just really stood out because I think it connects to every person, because I think sometimes even if we're just making an action, we don't think it really has an impact, but you kind of don't also realize that everyone else is making those same decisions, and all those impacts add up to create some of these huge global changes. And so it also just really affects our ecosystems way more than we think too, which once you compare how every little decision, as I said, adds up and produces grand effects within our society. So these images here, the one on the left in the turtle, just affects, it's really interesting when you really look into it, because turtles aren't usually hunted compared to shellfish and other things which like are used for food. And so they're getting caught in things that they aren't even like used for. And so it really just, it's affecting all types of marine life, even if it's not really relevant to it, which can also cause high deaths, injuries, and habitat loss for many species, because this plastic is taking over the ocean organisms and our oceans. And then also the photo on the right of the island symbolizes one of the many remote islands across international seas that are polluted with single-use plastics. And then, which in turn turns into the photo of the hand with all the microplastics in it as the plastic degrades, because it never dissolves, it only breaks down into smaller, which then turns into more systems and gets into more of marine life. So this is also a graph explaining the increase within our oceans. So some of the countries with most plastic pollution are the United States, India, Brazil, China, and Indonesia. And so the plastics decompose and they kind of integrate into the ecosystems, or they often sit and just become digested by marine life. So even an example, a small fish is living within the reef and ingests the microplastics, and then a bigger fish kind of eats that one, and then the plastic just keeps cycling through all the systems. So a bit more about microplastics. They are both, it affects all of us, so human, wildlife, the oceans, and sometimes actually humans, most of us have probably ingested them at one point because they are being found in so many more products. So seafood, water, even beer, honey, and others. And it's actually been found that some microplastics can be found in human placenta, which is very worrying. And so also there's a quote that said, "The amount of microplastics in the environment represents only 4% of particles collected on average. The other 96% is comprised mostly of natural materials like minerals, dirt, and sand, insects, parts, pollen, and more." So moving forward, we want to take more awareness and action to this issue. So through education, cycles and habits, companies, and communities. So with education, even just taking the time to learn about it yourself, because I feel like many people don't really take that time to focus on these issues unless it's connecting personally, which is also something about the education is that, you know, it is affecting us, and it will at some point, even if you haven't noticed it yet. So even just keeping up with society and sticking to what's happening locally around the world. And then also with cycles and habits, just trying to improve your daily life to reduce the waste. So maybe avoiding single-use plastics, also doing cold washes so that less microfibers and plastics go into our oceans. Also buying secondhand are really good options. And then even some companies. So for Ocean, the Ocean Cleanup and BraceNet are all companies that basically sell, so some of them sell bracelets like For Ocean, which is made of the recycled material that they clean up, and then they also donate the proceeds towards working on ocean cleanup. And then also there's communities, so working within the community, so example like environment clubs to work together to solve an issue and spread awareness about it as well. There are solutions. This is one organization we connect with, the Ocean Cleanup. It's a cleanup boat and robots. So the boat runs on a combination of electric motors, batteries, and solar panels. Its purpose is to gather up floating trash that ends up in our oceans, like plastic bags, plastic bottles, and other detritus plastics. The Ocean Cleanup is the largest cleanup group in history. They are a nonprofit organization with hopes to clean up 90% of what's on our ocean surface. One simple thing we can do is limit our single-use plastics, which is about 40% of the plastics in our ocean. In your day-to-day, if we can cut out all single-use plastics, the benefits will really create a healthier planet and preserving our natural resources. I like to look at it from the perspective that it's easier to cut down on plastic than remove it.
And so with that being true, I feel like also as humans, we forget about the potential we have. So in grade 10, I got to create a project that was working towards solving plastic pollution, and I called it Clear Coast. And basically, I focused on the Australia region because they also suffer with lots of plastic pollution, and they also surf a lot. So I wanted to create a company where I can create like surfwear and surfboards while also helping with plastic pollution. So basically, I created these prototypes of surfboards and swimsuits and wetsuits made out of recycled plastic, where most of that group would be able to purchase it, and then some of the proceeds would go towards clean plastic. So it was also like a win-win, and it was also being very sustainable.
We would like to thank all of our teachers and all of our peers for all the support that they've helped us through this.
We're very grateful for this opportunity, and we hope you guys learn something.
Me and Miriam. They're both grade 12 students at OLS. And in Canmore, they want to change energy uses and level of sustainability in their school. They say their friendship was formed through sustainability, and they have been on the environmentalist journey together to sustainability the whole way. We recently conducted an energy audit at the school, building a school building in order to determine how much energy is used. Not only did the project teach them about efficiency, but it also about the power we can all have in the youth community. They want to share their story and motivate other youth in their community.
Good morning. My name is Miriam and I'm a grade 12 student at Our Lady of the Snows. First of all, we both want to thank you guys so much for supporting us and giving us the opportunity to share our project with you today. We are Team Greenfoot, and the main project that we will be sharing with you today focused on specifically increasing the energy efficiency of our school building. We also additionally hope that we can inspire all of you to take initiative on any issues in your community and make your voices heard.
My name is Maddie, and I'm also in grade 12 at Our Lady of the Snows here in Canada.
We have many stages to our project, and we hope to walk through them today and share our very educational experience, which would not have been possible without the support of our community. We will also be sharing other sustainability events and youth groups we have been a part of that have furthered our understanding of the impact we can have as youth on sustainability issues. So Nanny and I actually grew to be very great friends through our journey in sustainability. These two students from different cultural backgrounds, we are both very passionate about leadership and environmental stewardship and want to advocate for greater youth involvement in the community. Since Nanny spent a good part of last year in Japan, we got a lot closer over the Zoom meetings that we had every Tuesday. And when she got back, we really hit it off. I couldn't imagine doing this presentation with anyone else. When our teacher mentioned that we had the opportunity to do an energy audit, we were both very excited. Climate change is a rising issue in our community and many others globally. For us personally, we've seen smoke from wildfires more than ever this past summer. We have also noticed temperature rising on Canada too. So we have been so grateful for this unique project opportunity we had, where we were able to actively contribute to sustainability in our school community. And our project is called Greenfoot because we aim to make the carbon footprint of schools green. We understand that the subject of environmental stewardship and climate change can often be intimidating, but we want to assure everyone here that this is a warm and safe environment. It is also the perfect place for us to all draw inspiration from one another. So starting off, before our project even started, I attended the 2022 Accelerating Climate Action Conference hosted by the Biosphere with our school's Sustainability Club. Nanny was unfortunately in Japan at the time, so she was unable to attend, but she got updates online. This was a very real start to our project, since it was not only very informative and inspirational, but it opened our eyes to the changes we can make in regards to energy efficiency to benefit our community and in turn our health. Nanny and I actually presented at the same conference this year, just last week actually, where we talked about the energy audit that we did at our school. We got so much positive feedback and were able to interact and discuss topics with members of the community. We were very surprised and flattered that we were given this opportunity and that people were willing to listen to us and support us. Communities want to see more youth engagement, so don't be afraid to make your voices heard. As mentioned before, we have a lot of support during this project. First of all, we thank the Canmore Rotary Club for sponsoring our Greenfoot project and making it possible. In addition, we are part of the Canadian Rocky Youth Network, and we attended a summit in early March where we met many like-minded youth. It was a very insightful experience for both of us. In the beginning of our project in 2022, we participated in the Earth Prize, which is a sustainability competition for teens. We learned a lot about the entrepreneurship portion of our project, as the main submission was a business model canvas. The Biosphere Institute of the Gold Valley, a non-profit organization, has also given us an immense amount of support, and we continue to have a special connection with them to this day. #Decarbonize and the Center for Global Education have also given us the opportunity to stand on this stage today. We thank all of these organizations and individuals like our teachers that have helped us follow and achieve our goals. As a specific example of a sustainability youth group we are a part of, we are members of the Future Leaders Youth Council hosted by the Biosphere. So far, we have toured the local waste treatment facility and also had the opportunity to go on the local radio to spread awareness on climate change in the Middle Valley. We will be a part of it this year too. Coming back to the topic of our Greenfoot project, the biggest aspect of it was a school-wide energy audit we conducted, where we did a sustainability sleepover at the school. By doing this sleepover, it became much easier to determine how we can make our school more sustainable and efficient by reducing unnecessary energy usage. For example, we looked at lighting, heating, and ventilation around our school at different time periods during the day. During the building energy audit, our sustainability teams joined us, and it was a very educational experience. For example, we found that our atrium or lunchroom had lights turned on for the entirety of the day, even though it is one of the rooms that gets the most natural sunlight. The lights being turned on did not make a significant difference in the lighting of the room, which is why we saw it as quite a waste of energy and money.
So for our energy project, Greenfoot, we had multiple meetings with Matthew, who's a professional engineer from Ready Energy, planning and also looking around the building. He has been working with us and has helped answer any of our questions, as well as has provided any assistance that we may have needed. We did the energy and financial calculations with the help of Matthew. We hope he will continue to help us and actively be part of making our school energy efficient. Our school board considered hiring him formally when he was working with us, and I believe he actually did, which is super. As mentioned, we had a meeting with Matthew during our energy audit at the school, and he gave us a lot of advice and educated us on how to effectively do the audit itself. Facilities members from our school board also helped give us access to the boiler rooms. This was very important for us to have access to these back rooms in order to gain a better understanding on how OLS uses energy as a whole. We also did other fun events unrelated to sustainability, such as dancing in the gym and watching a movie.
Looking at the entire division with the help of Matthew, we determined that if schools across Christ the Redeemer or school board could meet their school's targets for energy usage, $630,000 would be saved, and the new cost would go from $1.9 million to $1.3 million per year. Miriam and I gave a presentation to a school superintendent at a school board meeting to show him the benefits of saving energy across our school. We proposed for Christ the Redeemer to formally hire Matthew as a professional energy auditor, which they did, as I mentioned before.
So as an example of what we learned at this energy audit, this is a chart of the factors, both electricity and gas related, that we found to have the most important impact on making our school building more energy efficient. Some of these are etiquette related and focus on changing behaviors in order to reduce energy usage. Behavioral changes will have a very large impact on energy efficiency at the school. The low-hanging fruit, or some of the categories that have a large impact but are relatively cheap to change, are the categories we focused on changing. We believe that by starting with these recommendations, for example, optimizing lighting and zone control, we would have the greatest impact. We hope to continue to increase energy efficiency at our school. For example, if you're looking at solar panel installations at our school, potentially. After the board presentation we did, they offered for us to present to the Board of Superintendents at the Alberta Conference of Superintendents, which we will be doing later this month. We also hope to have continued engagement with Ready, and are hoping to participate in certain aspects of making our school more energy efficient, such as being on site when installing new appliances.
Ultimately, our Greenfoot project and other sustainability projects we have been a part of have made a huge impact on ourselves and the community. Through the Greenfoot project, we gained many leadership skills and learned to take initiative, and we are continuing to gain many skills to this day. As students and youth in this town, we received a large amount of support from the community, and we came to the realization that any youth who are determined and motivated can make an impact. And thank you to everyone here too, who is giving us support and giving youth like us a safe environment where we can share our story.
Thank you.
Hi, we are the students from St. Joseph's Academy representing the Philippines. Organized is where we innovate. Organized is organized is using our voice for a better world.
Okay, so now we're going to take a 5-minute break, and this will be a great time to reflect on everything you've heard. Feel free to use this time to connect to your federal attendees and exchange ideas, and let inspiration from your youth-minded activists inspire you. We'll be back shortly.
Okay, we are going to be starting again in about 2 minutes. If we could find our seats, please.
Can I get you to watch that orange thing? And then, oh, it needs to kind of move with it. I'm just gonna. I wonder if we should. I'm just worried about the piano pieces coming up.
The piano is right
Yeah, yeah. Can you? Oh, perfect. Yeah. All right. I think that's better. No, yeah. When it's her part, I'm gonna come down and change it. But we don't need to see the blank piano when she's not there. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, girls. You're doing so great. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had a great break filled with some meaningful conversations. Feel free to take a seat if you haven't already. And first up, we have a video.
So up next, we have a presentation by Sarah, Aaron, Josh, and Sarah from Okanagan Mission Secondary School. Their community has felt the profound impacts of climate change. In the past summer, they've witnessed devastating impacts of wildfire, which forced thousands to evacuate and, as a result, in the loss of hundreds of homes. This experience made them realize that they all play a role on the Earth's future, and it's up to us to make it possible.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh.
I'm Sarah. I'm also Sarah, and I'm Aaron.
And we're grade 12 students from Okanagan Mission Secondary School from Kelowna. We just want to recognize that we're from the unceded land of the Silks Okanagan. People often don't take action until the problem reaches their doorstep. They feel an unearned sense of safety because they haven't yet suffered from the consequences of their inaction. It's not my problem, or why should this matter to me? are often the first thoughts that come to mind with this way of thinking. I remember a time where climate change didn't seem as much of an urgent issue. Sure, fires from other places around Kelowna would produce smoke that would lay a putrid blanket over the Okanagan Valley, making it impossible to enjoy one of the most beautiful places in Canada. The lake, the beaches, the mountains surrounding the valley, all made invisible by the chokehold smog seems to have on our summer year after year. But it's come and gone, like I said, and it hasn't really had any long-term impact on the community. So with that has come a level of acceptance. It was this year, however, where the voracious McDougal Creek wildfire roared over the mountains, one of the biggest wildfire we've seen in the region, and 200 houses in my community. The problem had arrived at my doorstep and become personal. This has left a scar in my neighborhood and many others, one that will not easily heal. We cannot take another disaster like this, not when it's fully preventable with the right planning, coordination, and action. I believe the anxiety-filled nights that people feel when they're displaced from their homes, wondering whether they'll have a home to go back to, should not become the new normal. This is unacceptable. As I've seen firsthand what climate change can do to a community, I want to be part of the change that stops the problem before it even rounds the corner. We want to be a part of the change that stops the problem before it rounds the corner.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Mariotto, and I'm a 16-year-old student that lives in Kelowna, British Columbia. So what is my climate story? Climate change is red because of the flames that almost burned my house down 20 years ago. The anger I feel is red when I see the sadness in the community members' eyes after telling me their house has been burned down. The red takes over when I think of the unfairness. What will the future bring? The 2003 fires attacked my neighborhood and tore down the mountain towards the wooden foundation of my home that was not yet finished. The winds changed and the fire went away. The same cannot be said for the trauma left behind in my community, which lingers like the stench of smoke. Because those fires blew away and left my home standing, I was able to grow and thrive with a safe place to live. I was able to then grow up and be there, 16 years old and 20 years later when the fires struck again. This territory has never traditionally been flammable. The Okanagan Silks people practice controlled burns to keep this land safe. But over time, as Indigenous practices wore away, so did ozone layers. As the Silks traditions got taken away, so did the safety of the land. Populations grew in the Okanagan over time, as they did across the country and the world. I believe that the development of climate change and the subtraction of silks practices caused the fires to burn brighter than ever before. This year, the temperature skyrocketed in the Okanagan due to climate change, causing the land to be more susceptible to fires. The trauma that came back to the people in this community due to this year's fire was like the smoke. Too much and everywhere. It's like 2003 all over again. The locals would say, shaking their heads. The way that this has affected me as a community member is through my job. Working as a cashier, people don't expect this, but I'm often an outlet for people in the community. Maybe my customer just got off work, had a stressful day, or is picking up a few things for a sick family member. During the major wildfire crisis this summer, it was especially hard for me because I look outside and everything would be covered in this thick, wet smoke. The thick smoke would always get inside the building, making my airways contract and affecting my ability to work, being sick and dizzy. Trying not to look outside, avoiding reminders that my city was burning to the ground. Talking to my customers was the worst part because many of them were struggling, having been evacuated or having lost their homes. Some people would even break down in tears in front of me, and it was hitting too close to home.
I had to step up and be there for my community. Not only as a frontline worker, but also emotionally. That experience has stuck with me. That's what my climate change story says. Because it doesn't only affect the environment, it affects the people too. And many others on the front lines. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm the other Sarah Kovacs, and I came to decarbonize as I wanted to make a change in our world. We live and learn on this beautiful planet, and it's up to us to save it. As we heard from Sarah and Josh, climate change affects all of us. Like we experienced this summer with the fires, it's the little efforts that we make that will make our world a safer place. At OPM, I am involved in multiple programs that represent the UN Sustainable Development Goals. OPM composting follows goal number 11, sustainable city and communities, goal number 12, responsible consumption, and goal 13, climate action. At OPM, 50% of all garbage thrown out was actually compostable. By placing bins in every single classroom helps make composting available to all staff and students at OPM. By composting these organic waste reduces the amount of methane gas coming from landfills. I've been involved at a student-run cafe called Mission Roots for the past 2 years. Mission Roots is a cafe that donates all proceeds to charities such as Eco Trust Canada and Water First. From being involved in this, I have learned the impact of even the price of a simple cup of coffee can make on climate change charities. I hope everyone listening to this can realize the small impacts that they have in saving our world from climate change. At the end of the day, there is no planet B, so it's time to make our efforts count. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin and I'm here to decarbonize because I can't just sit back and watch climate change unfold. I want to make a difference. Similarly, I wanted to make a difference when my friends and I created a project a couple years ago. Since we were little, we've always been passionate about animals and their rights. We wanted to create a change in our school community. That's when Our Voice for Change was born. We advocated for choice around animal dissection. We brought in new technologies and educated our district on the negative effects. After a year and a half of advocating, we were able to get our district to create an administrative procedure, stating that students have a choice in their learning in ST23. Although this project was around animal dissection, it deepened my understanding of climate change and how its effects are all around us. The harvesting of the animals and the chemicals used produce gas emissions into our ecosystems, contributing to climate change. We created our project around United Nations goal number 4, quality education, number 12, responsible consumption and production, and number 15, life on land. But after diving deeper into the global goals, I learned that they're all connected to each other. One cannot be met by the other. A lack of progress on one interferes with the progress of the others. For example, we can't have quality education without reduced inequalities. We can't have clean water and sanitation without industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And we cannot have climate action without global goals number 7, 9, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, really all of them. Climate change isn't an easy problem, but it's a problem we're sharing, a problem we're solving. But there isn't an easy solution. It isn't just about lowering our global temperature. It's about our oceans, our industries, our food, our belongings. We can't fix this problem unless we work together. We must team up to create a livable planet for all generations to come. In our own community, Kelowna has been devastated by the effects of climate change through fires and extreme temperatures, and it's only getting worse. But our community is coming together and educating themselves and creating programs to combat this. It's time for us to make a difference. We are our Earth's future, and it's up to us to make it a positive one. Like Dolores once said, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better if it's not. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Kelly, Jess, and Katie for always supporting us and seeing us more than students, as people too. We would like to thank them for all of their support and always believing in us. And thank you to Decarbonize for inviting us here and giving us this special opportunity. Thank you everyone for listening to our talk. Thank you.
Teaching my classroom over here, and the fire alarm goes off. Someone in my class goes, "Oh, the roof is on fire, the roof is on fire." Then I began to realize that where our solar panels were is where the fire was. And just hung my head because I knew exactly what was happening. Was a project that we had spent 3 years and $45,000 raising. They were all in flames. And then I thought, EcoVision is over. Slowly, the group of 10 students at the time gathered around me in the center circle, and I looked up and I saw tears just running down their faces. Young people care about their environment. They care about their world, and in my heart, I knew that my job wasn't done. Today we are in sunny, beautiful Lacombe Composite High School. So EcoVision is project-based education. So we allow students to dream big dreams and then do research on those dreams and then put those dreams into reality. We have 3 pillars that we follow. All our projects must be student-led and must be environmental, educational, and collaborate with the community. So far we have our solar panels. We have reduced 56 gigatons of carbon in the 11 years that we've had our solar panels. We then had a greenhouse project where we built a geodesic net zero tropical greenhouse. It's there to inspire others. So far to date, we've inspired 5 other middle schools or high schools to build one of these. And then we have a beekeeping program where my students actually teach the public how to raise bees properly, and they can't get a license until they take that course. And then our 4th one is our gardens, and that's to teach people that you can grow your own food, and it can be organic and healthy and sustainable. And finally, we built a grow barn that is self-sufficient, insulated, but also can be used for education purposes. The benefits of taking the courses that have been developed through our EcoVision program are immense. It allows students to get in touch with their outdoors and with nature. It also provides them an avenue to develop very unique skill set. Thirdly, it provides incredible leadership opportunities for our students that they would otherwise have.
Really hands-on learning experience. So not only am I learning a lot about kind of what I want to do in the future, which is probably something I'm learning for that. I'm widening my skill set just in general with outside stuff, and it's really easy to learn when it's so involved and stuff like that.
These courses, you learn a lot, and it's nice to know things so that when people ask questions, you can hop in there and use what you've learned and put it into there, and then eventually bring it into your lifestyle or how you want to live. I was half of it just for the credits, but now it's like really exciting to learn more about it. And it's fun to actually go out and see our notes and take care of them and learn.
After the fire, there were both students on both sides, students that were crying and students that were cheering, that both said, I want to be part of a solution. And so they started thinking and dreaming, and we came up with a theme, out of the ashes we will rise. And so when students came back to me and said, we need to build a building. Why don't we build a greenhouse? And something crazy happened after the year the greenhouse built. It's like all of a sudden there was a physical symbol. So this is something tangible that kids could actually walk into, and all of a sudden EcoVision exploded again. The future of EcoVision, I believe, is very bright. Students more than ever are wanting to make a difference. Students are discovering their passions, and I think because of all the programs we offer, it taps into a lot of passions across the spectrum of students as well. As long as I'm here, and as long as the students want to invest and follow their dreams and see them come to reality, I think EcoVision will thrive.
Next up, we have Sarah Thornhill, Sarah is a grade 11 Ecovision student from Ecole Secondary Lacombe Composite High School. She helped write a climate youth manifesto that was presented to the government and environmental leaders in April 2023. Through CGE's #Decarbonize program, she has also been a keynote speaker on environmental issues at conferences such as Canadian Rockies Youth Network, Career and Technology Education Council, Evolve Conference, and her local Earth Day conference. Sarah's environmental actions helped LCHS earn T4 Education World's Top 10 School Prize for Environmental Action in 2022. Sarah's presentation is focused on how climate change is affecting food production in Canada and what her Ecovision Club is doing about it. Sarah is a passionate advocate for the environment, for environmental action, and participates in Ecovision's food security, beekeeping, greenhouse maintenance, gardening, goat care, and micro-business programs.
Hi, thank you. So first I would like to thank Decarbonize for inviting me to present what we have learned and done so far with our school. I'm very excited to be talking to you today. So we're going to be talking about how climate change has affected food production in Canada. So Ecovision, just a brief overview, is an environmental club at my school, Composite High School. Our purpose is to grow student leaders and through our 3 pillars, which is to improve the environment, enhance our education, and collaborate with our community. This is a poster we have that highlights the main projects that we have done as a club and as a school. So, yeah. The first issue we'd like to address is the reduction of precipitation along with the increase in temperature. The diagram on the left provides evidence that Alberta is getting drier. Canmore and Red Deer are both in the pink area, indicating that our precipitation levels are extremely low. The second picture shows a local farmer that will be experiencing major crop loss this year and losing lots of money. With the cost of living getting higher, this could be detrimental to all Canadians. So the days are getting hotter. This graph shows that there is an increase in hotter days while a decrease in colder days. As you can see, while comparing these 2 timelines, is that the weather is changing and is expected to continue getting worse as time goes on. Climate-related issues like increased temperatures, shorter winters, and less precipitation have caused less water flow in rivers and reduced water availability. In the first article, ranchers are experiencing hardship due to less amounts of water, and the second article is pretty much the same. So both sides, ranching and farming, will also experience a bunch of loss due to not being able to get enough water for. This picture shows articles of how climate change is creating extreme weather events such as droughts, floods, tornadoes, and above normal temperatures. For example, in Olds this summer, there was the strongest tornado recorded in Alberta's history. Increased temperatures have negatively affected farmers in Alberta. For example, livestock is getting sick, milk, egg, and meat production is down, and animals are dying. The bees at our school have been supplemented with feed for longer periods of time due to earlier and warmer springs. This semester, one of our goats at our school, Patty, unfortunately got listeriosis and pneumonia, and she unfortunately passed away this past Saturday, partially due to fluctuating temperatures. This, of course, has been hard for myself and other students to comprehend. So here are some solutions. See right here, we'll go through that. Here's the timeline of some of my big projects, including our solutions for climate change. Solution number 1 is our near net zero geodesic tropical greenhouse. We have 4 main energy systems that reduce carbon emissions. A
First one would be the geothermal climate battery, which heats and cools the greenhouse year-round using the Earth's energy. We also have solar voltaic panels that create electricity. Passive solar shape of the greenhouse captures the sun's energy no matter where it is in the sky. We have polycarbonate panels that are 4 layers thick and insulate the greenhouse, keeping it warmer in the winter. And we have solar tubes that capture the sun's heat to warm up our fish tank, which usually raise up to 150 tilapia fish. Our fruit forest. We have 200 local fruit trees that capture carbon and produce edible fruit for our students and the community. The local outdoor classroom allows students to have their classes immersed in nature with birds, bees, butterflies, and etc. We have 50 raised beds that allow the students and community to grow vegetables for community programs, farmers markets, and organizations. Also, we have a picture from 2012, and that was about a week ago, but it looks a lot more full in the summer. So we have a drip irrigation system set up. All of our trees are drip irrigated at the roots to conserve water and encourage optimal yields. The raised beds are also drip irrigated through a smart irrigation system, so gardeners do not have to worry about watering while they're on holidays. The greenhouse is also drip irrigated, so our plants can thrive in hot temperatures. We conserve 70% more water, which is helping us adjust to climate patterns. Here we have our EPIC garden. EPIC stands for Educational Pollinator Indigenous Carbon Capture. We have reintroduced 25 local species that have value to our indigenous peoples. The local species capture carbon and are more resilient to climate changes because they have adapted to our environment. We have incorporated rain garden, which allows the garden to store water underground. So this is your chance to take action. We have 6 actions that you can, 6 small actions that you can take to help reduce carbon emissions and hopefully help climate change. You can become informed, calculate your school's carbon footprint, plant a garden, reduce waste in your household, advocate for any local activities that your community might be doing to help fight climate change, and support individuals and schools that develop environmental and agricultural projects, which you guys are all doing right now, so we really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
We're gonna skip that one.
Okay, so next up we have a speaker, Sarah. She is 17 years old and from Cold Lake, Alberta. Her climate story focuses on the various ways wildlife is impacted by climate. By taking you on a journey to significant places in her life, she will explore the important impact. She believes that it is important to acknowledge the human activities and are not only affecting our future, but also disturbing wildlife around the world. The goal of sharing her climate story is to emphasize that anyone can help fight climate change to save our planet.
Imagine, coming home from a long day just to find out that your home has been destroyed. How would this make you feel?
This is the reality of how many of our wildlife feel from the impacts of climate change. Hello, my name is Sarah Epticard, and I'm a grade 12 student from Cold Lake High School in Cold Lake, Alberta. I am passionate about science and creating a positive change in our planet. I care about the impact of climate change on wildlife. This is why my climate story is about taking you on a journey to different places that are significant to me and talking about how their life is affected from climate change. Let's begin our journey. This is where my parents were born and where many of my family lives. That red pinpoint from Pakistan. The biodiversity of Pakistan includes around 5,000 kinds of invertebrates, 168 species of birds, and 195 species of mammals spread throughout a broad range of habitats, from sea level to high elevation regions in the mountains. Some of these iconic wildlife species include snow leopard, the Himalayan brown bear, English river dolphin, and the markhor, the national animal. However, many are in crisis. Recently, in 2022, floods have created a widespread destruction of Pakistan's wildlife habitats and posed a serious threat to the wild species. Many leopards, deers, and bears have drowned as their murky waters quickly engulfed them. A tourist place called Kanpur lost all its wildlife, including 100 endangered species in the flood crisis. All the animals drowned while lost in location and culture. Peacocks, ducks, and pheasants were also lost, as well as 2 million acres of farmland has also flooded, killing more than 700,000 farm animals. But Pakistan isn't the only country that has wildlife in jeopardy. So let's continue our journey. In 2006, my parents immigrated to Canada, where they had me. Where I was born and our country, Canada. Canada being home to 80,000 plant and animal species makes it home to more species of wildlife than the rest of the world. Canada's wilderness covers an area of approximately 3.9 million square kilometers. It has an abundance of wildlife such as beavers, otters, dolphins, bisons, polar bears, and caribou. However, Canada's not looking too hot either. Wait, maybe it's looking a bit too hot. Heat waves are predicted to increase in frequency and intensity as it warms at a rate that's twice as fast as the rest of the world. A record heat wave off the coast of Canada was estimated to kill off around 1 billion marine species, including sea stars, barnacles, clams, mussels, and snails. The loss of sea ice has caused the polar population in Canada to drop by 27% just in the last 5 years. Thousands of Atlantic mussels were found dead in Newfoundland, as warming oceans are causing these birds to dive deeper to find fish, leading many to starve. But let's get into specifics. To end off our journey, let me take you to Cold Lake, Alberta, my hometown. Cold Lake is known for its diverse landscape because it is home to spruce and pine forests, marshes, swamps, and sandy beaches. Cold Lake is home to black bears, fishers, moose, Canadian lynx, and deer. Cold Lake is a unique aquatic ecosystem, and it is an important contributor to the quality of life for local communities. It has around 24 known species of fish in its major ice fishing lake. The lake is also a major stop for many migrating birds, and is home to one of the largest water bird populations in Alberta. During my research on the effects of wildlife due to climate change, I was able to get in contact with Cold Lake's mayor, who manages the fish hatchery. He mentioned that Cold Lake is seeing lack of mushrooms. It could be a cyclical thing, but certainly the bears have been in Cold Lake a lot this year, which may be an indication that berries will not be plentiful as well. The fish stocks in the rivers and creeks have been negatively impacted as the water is extremely low in the local creeks and rivers, including Mary Creek and Beaver River.
This impacts winter survival conditions, snow and waters in some parts and causes complete freeze up, which will result in fish loss. Additionally, lower water levels are causing less habitat for animals, such as beavers, which creates an increase of competition. Cold Lake is full of wetlands. Benefits of wetlands include water quality improvement by filtering pollutants and reducing flood and soil erosion by storing runoff and slowing downstream roots. Wetlands are dynamic, complex habitats. They contribute to biodiversity and overall ecological health of our environment. Cold Lake is developing and expanding, and by this, we're building on many of the homes of our animals. For instance, this school was built on a wetland, as well as a city mall and many of the homes. Cold Lake is also the proud home of the largest and busiest aircraft wing of the Canadian Armed Forces. However, jets become a large contributor to CO2 emissions in our atmosphere. Living in a lakeland, high CO2 production makes it hard for aquatic organisms to live. Cold Lake is one of the largest carbon captures in the world. We produce 500,000 barrels of oil from the Cold Lake oil sands, and by 2030, we plan on making the process 100% carbon free, which will make it more environmentally friendly. The carbon capture storage is planned to be a 400-kilometer pipeline, transporting carbon from more than 20 oil sands, which is a major project in our area to fight climate change. We are fortunate that Cold Lake is sitting on top of a unique geological formation at 1,000 meters below the surface of the forest layer that the carbon can safely inject into, and then the carbon cannot penetrate the layer of rock and come back to the surface. Oil industry that processes the oil in the Cold Lake and Cold Lake area will remove the carbon from the process of making oil and ship the carbon by pipelines to the Cold Lake area. So, what have I been doing to create a positive difference? I am part of EnviroWorks, which is an environmental hub at school. We built birdhouses from recycled containers and wood scraps, promoted bee conservation by making beeswax traps, and planting wildflowers to encourage gardening in our community. Our school is working on growing more food through hydroponic garden towers. We're also part of the Carbonite program to help become more educated and aware of the impacts of climate change. I was also able to help write the Canadian Youth Manifesto earlier this year. I was also lucky enough to help present this to the Canadian government and multiple climate change organizations around Canada. Now, what can you do? Taking action can be as simple as recycling, not using a bike, using a bike instead of driving, or even turning off the lights that are not in use. You could also take action by spreading awareness. Many Canadians know that climate change is bad, but do they know how it affects them? How about how it affects their wealth? A common misconception is that taking action is out of our control. But if we work together, we can improve our future for ourselves, our wildlife, and our planet. Thank you. For me, the Carbonite is a beacon of hope.
Crucial for our future. About catalyst for change.
The Carbonite gives power to the power.
It proves that we can all unite for a greater cause.
I think an opportunity to occupy our voice.
We would now like to invite all of our speakers to the stage to take part in a Q&A. So if you have any questions, raise your hand.
Yes, you in the back?
I want to say thank you. I was present at the UN summit in Rio. I'm going to cry. In June of 1992, I was living in Vancouver at the time, and I intuitively knew I had to physically be there, not just read about it after the fact through newspapers and magazines. I might have been the only independent citizen there, and knew to go not representing an organization and an agenda. I knew to go and just pay close attention and listen and watch. And glean an awareness of who's doing what are the gaps. And also to carry the inner question, can technology alone solve the human ills? And I came home to Canada knowing, no, they cannot. It's a spiritual crisis. It's a crisis of our connection to the land, our connection to each other, our connection to that which is sacred. So I want to thank you. You remind me about me. I've texted so many close friends who are saying, you got to get here, pop out your doors to come here. We need more adults supporting youth. We need more people listening to you. So it's a big thank you. Big thank you for what you're doing. I want to say one more thing, and it was appalling. So at the UN 92 Earth Summit, it was very profoundly unique. It's before big powers could sort of shut it down. There was this huge thing called the Global Forum that was on the beaches in Rio de Janeiro. It was thousands of people who came from all over the country, all over the world, representing their countries and their organizations. And it was just incredibly inspiring. And while I was there, so much inspiration happened. I could go on and on and on, but I'm really, really thank you. We're late, as you all know. Got a lot of work to do. And the public thing I want to share is how many people were passing the buck then, saying the children will fix it. And that was in 1992. It's not the job of the children to fix it. Thank you for your leadership. We need more adults to participate. We've got a big problem to solve. Thank you so much.
Could I get anyone that would like to ask a question, maybe to come down and ask it into the microphone, just so that our people on YouTube and Zoom are able to hear it as well. So if you would like to ask a question, feel free to come down to the microphone. If you want to just wait, as long as we're not standing in front of the camera, that will work great. Thank you very much for accommodating that.
I just have a brief question to anyone. Why do you think this is so gendered? Why do you think it's 95% female students involved?
So if you guys can go ahead.
Yes. I'm gonna attempt to answer my question, but I honestly don't really know. Women have so much power. So much power. It's been overlooked for so long, and I think now it's like our time to be more engaged in society and make our voices heard, like our voice matters too.
This is a question for Nicole. I think the projects you guys do were amazing. You have so much going on. That's amazing. I'm just wondering, how you funded that. Did you do fundraising, or did you get from the school board, or what? I think a lot of things we do would be good to take and implement in our own school communities. And it's just, you guys have a lot of great stuff.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. So one thing I think the reason our school board is really on board with all our projects is that we have never asked them for any money. It is all fundraised or donated from our community or from just different organizations. We've also written a lot of grants to help us fundraise all these projects. But yeah, it's all student led, like, yeah.
A question for Sarah Kay and Aaron. What advice do you have for other students who are concerned about the climate and want to do more?
As we both talked about in our presentation, I think it's the little efforts and the little impacts that we can make. We don't realize how, if you carpool school or you compost or walk or whatever you do, or maybe you, I remember my family doing, you would meatless Monday, and those like small actions, you think of it, 55 weeks in a year, so that's 55 meatless meals. And like those impacts can really impact climate change. And if everyone does that, then we all have an impact.
I also think that people can have the mindset that one person can make a difference and every little action counts.
I have a question for anyone. So I was wanted to ask you guys, what's the next step going to be for your climate journey? Do you have a plan?
I guess I can touch a bit on that. After high school, I plan on pursuing a post-secondary degree, but after that, I plan on returning back home and finding different ways to help my people.
So at the moment, what our school is doing is we have realized that food security is a problem in our school, or food insecurity, I guess. So we ran a survey and discovered that around 200 and some students in our school, of about 1,000, are coming to school without a lunch or without a snack and are going hungry throughout the day. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we want to work on right now, is trying to help implement like more food programs in schools by setting up snack carts during breaks and stuff like that. But yeah, we just started it maybe a year and a half ago, but I think we've gone pretty far with it already, and that's probably what our next step is to go forward with that.
So for us at OLS, now that we've conducted the energy audit and we're really aware of specific numbers of how our school is doing for energy efficiency, we're hoping to really implement it now and potentially look at solar panel installations at the school, for example.
I just wanted to touch on the fact that I feel like we're always looking for new voices to be heard and new ideas. But I also think that the next step should be more like focusing on the people who do have a plan and the people like us who came here today, and making a spot and like a platform that people like us can like share and like recruit others to join.
Yeah, I think it's just about further educating myself and others. And as we heard from all the excellent people here, that they have done some really great things with their schools and their own initiatives. I think we can all learn from them and try to implement that they've had in our own lives and communities.
So sorry, but just because we're tight on time, we only have time for one more Q&A question, but I'm sure they'd be happy to chat with everybody after the last bit, so.
What would you use that comes to you for other people who want to make it?
One thing for me, I was hesitant to kind of make
changes in my community. So I was like afraid of people rejecting me or saying something wrong or like not knowing 100% what I wanted to talk about. And honestly, like the first step and the biggest step is just like show up to events like this. And don't be afraid to like engage, ask questions, and like nobody's gonna judge you. So like it's a safe space. To add on to that, I think it's just really important to get involved in your community and really educate yourself on the issues that everyone around you is facing. And when you are more aware of the things going around you, it's easier to come up with solutions to those issues. So.
Yeah, just kind of echoing what everyone said, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you're missing out on, you don't know what you can do to help the situation. So the best thing is just to educate yourself, just be present at, for example, conferences like this, where you get to meet all these really like-minded people, where you can learn things from them.
My biggest advice for you is to realize that your voice matters, and it's so important that people are always looking for your voices. Don't be afraid to reach out to businesses, companies, find a mentor, because people are there, they want to help, and they're so passionate, they're so excited to learn about you and like your ideas and projects. Yep.
My advice is I feel like it's also just really important, like I cannot stress the fact how important it is to educate yourself, and also just like think about your future, like what do you want for your kids, what do you want for your grandkids, like with the way climate change is developing and like just worsening the state of our world, I feel like once you kind of add that family aspect, it almost makes you care and have a more personal connection to it.
I think it's really important to recognize that the earth is resilient, but that doesn't mean it's going to fix everything by itself. So like, I really, really love what Co was talking about and his volunteer purpose, and just really finding ways like, what are some things that I could do with my time that would be actually useful and helpful and help the community and the world. And we have things that we do at our own environmental club. We have road towers that we use, and we grow plants, and then that helps in the cafeteria, so that helps with cutting down the cost of food, and it's also healthier, and it's even more environmentally friendly. We do other things. It's just amazing too. I don't know, but it's just like lots of things, and it's really cool to be able to be a part of it and help. And if you don't have like a group or anything, start your own. You know, like there's always people willing to help and like, you know.
Yeah, I think that is everything. So we would like to give a huge thank you to all the people that made this happen. Thank you to Canmore Collegiate High School for hosting this event. And a big thank you for all the participating schools that have come out to make this possible. Thank you for the Alpine Club of Canada for hosting us the past couple days, and to our Indigenous elders for coming in and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you to Green Learning and Keeping It Global for your support and allowing us to explore global environmental issues. Last, thank you to Extreme Hangout for hosting this event and giving us these wonderful opportunities. And thank you to our wonderful interpreter, Susan, so wonderful. And also thank you to Rebecca for making this happen.
And with that, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out today and making this event possible. As students ourselves, we are encouraged by the dedication and passion from our fellow activists. So thank you.
Hopefully we can carry out this great energy and channel it into our own actions. We all have the power to make differences, and thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Just if you would like to chat with our speakers, they'll hang out here for a bit if you have a